If your team got guaranteed money, tell them call me.
Whoop. Make me say, my. I done been around the world.
Yeah, I was made for this.
Player Performance with J.A. Cavalier.
What's going on, everybody? It is Wednesday, June 25th. MLB Player Performance coming at you. Big shout out to Sharky and Guns for holding down the morning show today. Hope you guys caught an eye on that. Got some early winners there. Before we get started, make sure you guys hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Turn those notifications on. We are here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. live. Sharky and Guns, of course. What is that? That's Wednesday and Thursday mornings. Big morning card for you guys tomorrow, Shark. Make sure you get plenty of rest today. Only one night game tomorrow. Yep. How many night games we got on tonight? What do we got? We got 3, 6, 9, 10. What's that, 11? 11 games? 10?
I believe, yeah, I think it's 11.
All right, let's get right to it, boys. Free picks coming your way. Let's go.
I live the bright lights, the type, the crowd lights. Where you at, ballers? Ladies love me and men, they wanna be me, they pay to come see me. Where you at, ballers?
Make sure you guys ride along right next to us in the chat. Throw some plays out there. We'll answer some questions along the way. Much love going Coach's way. 6 max bet winners in a row, my friend.
Yeah, we're on a roll.
Let's keep it fucking rolling. Let's see what we can do in Baltimore here. We got the Rangers and the O's. Rangers laying $145, 9 over under. We got Jacob deGrom. We got Brandon Young. deGrom on the bump. He's going to need some bat health. Ooh, I got the wrong fucking one. deGrom's going to need some bat health. Rangers don't really score much on the road here, Coach.
Yeah.
What do you see going right today?
Well, I mean, the first thing that stands out when you look at the card, you know, for me, it's always like I tell you guys all the time, it's about pitchers, you know, so I see deGrom's name and then I'm going to check out, you know, what's coming at him. So for me, this is simple. It's Jacob deGrom and it's the first 5 and I'll play the money line and I will bank on the Rangers being able to get him a run or two. And I know you mentioned that they struggle to score and they struggle to score on the road, but somehow they've managed to win 7 of their last 10 on the road. And one of those, we played deGrom in the first 5 last week and he won. So he's going up against a rookie. It's Brandon Young. He's pitched a couple games before. They called him up, and I think he pitched 2 games. He's 0-1, 6.23 ERA. You know, kind of hard to tell, like, you know, what you're going to get from him because there's not a big sample size against him. But I wouldn't trust Texas in the full game, but I'll trust deGrom early on and take the Rangers in the first 5.
Sharky, what say you, sir?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a polarization in pitching quality here. You got a legend. I mean, this guy deGrom is a first ballot Hall of Famer. And this kid, Brandon Young, 2 career starts. He's only in his early 20s. I actually share a birthday with him. Shout out to everybody born in August 19th. I was capping. I was like, my guy, but not my guy in terms of this game. Coach, you said it. I mean, this dude, 2 starts, very poor. Didn't make it out of the fifth inning in either start. He did actually win his only home start of the year. He beat Cincinnati on Saturday, April 19th. Key point. The Orioles were favored in that game, -125, 9-5 win. Now he's a dog. deGrom is 3-0 outside of the division this year against American League opponents as a favorite. You know, you said that the Rangers can't score. I think they're going to score on this pitcher. I think he's going to just give them like a platter basically to eat off of. And final point on this, obviously we backed Baltimore incorrectly last night. Baltimore went down 5-0, came back, actually probably could have won the game. This is actually a good buy for Texas versus their run differential. They're 2 games under 500. They're actually plus 11. So don't be totally misguided, I would say, in terms of how you look at this team. I think it's a buy team tonight. I would definitely look the direction of the road team here.
All right, let's take a look at Coach's backyard. We got the A's and the Tigers here. Tigers laying 168.5 over under. Jacob Lopez, Jack Flaherty. Sharky, is this a fade spot of the A's? I mean, not looking so good for them on the road here this season. What do you like here?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about some of these games just going totally opposite of our projections. Like yesterday, I had a free play, and I said take the under between Skubal and Severino. Well, you know what? They had a rain delay. So these guys sit around in the clubhouse. All of a sudden, your entire projection goes out the window. And it's just kind of the insanity of contemporary athletics. Like, guys just don't have the mental fortitude of guys 30 years ago. But that being said, this kid, Jacob Lopez, really hard to read, in my opinion. Small sample. Road game, did get absolutely hammered at Toronto. 1 2/3 innings pitched, 7 earned runs. But then he came back Saturday, June 14th. Only road start this year at the AL Central at Kansas City. He was a complete ace. 6 innings pitched, no runs, 9 Ks. So you ask yourself, which Jacob Lopez is coming to the party tonight? I honestly have no idea. And Jack Flaherty, for his quality, you talk about quality, but you talk about a guy that's bounced around. St. Louis, Dodgers, now here, a couple other moving parts. This dude is scattered mentally. And I honestly, if I was leaning in one direction in this game, I actually think Oakland plus 1.5 has some access. I think Lopez is sustainably ticking up, and Flaherty's very inconsistent. Tough game, but I would lean towards Oakland at the plus 1.5 here.
Coach, what do you got?
Yeah, interestingly, I concur. 'Cause it wouldn't surprise me if the A's steal one here from Detroit. Complete opposite of yesterday when, you've got Scooble on the mound and, we're back in Detroit all the way no matter what. Well, today, Flaherty, you mentioned him, I don't know. If he's mentally, just checked out, he might be done for the season because he's given up a boatload of runs in his last 2 starts. And the last one, I think he only pitched 2 1/3 innings. So he could get bounced around because the A's really aren't that bad offensively. I know Luke likes Brent Rooker and he likes the rookie Jacob Wilson. I'm not sure what their props are tonight, but I actually expect there to be plenty of runs here. I think both pitchers are going to give up and get touched up for a zillion runs. And the A's are one of the top over teams in baseball. They give up almost 6 runs a game to begin with. And the over is cashed in almost 58% of their games this year. So I see this going over 8.5. And like Shark, I wouldn't be surprised if the A's can cover. And I wouldn't be surprised if they can win this game, actually.
Just looking over at Luke's channel over here, it looks like he's fading Brent Rooker here under 1.5 total bases. Yeah. So a little free play from the prop master.
There you go.
From beyond. All right, let's head over to Cleveland. Jesus. We got the Jays and we got the Guardians here. Guardians laying 110, 8.5 over under. Max Scherzer and Gavin Williams on the bump. Now, Coach Scherzer making his first start since March 29th. What can we expect out of Mad Max tonight?
Well, we're really not sure because, again, you're getting a situation where you got a guy coming back from a long layoff. So this isn't a 10 or 15-day stint on the IL. This is 60 days. So he's been out for a while. I think it's going to take him a few starts to figure out what's going on. He did pitch well in his rehab starts, though. He made 2 appearances in Buffalo. And he did really well. He struck out 12. I think it was a 167 opponent batting average and a 2.08 ERA. So I don't know. I would expect he does okay, but he's probably going to be on a pitch count. I don't expect him to pitch maybe 75, 80 pitches at the most. Will that be good enough for Toronto? I don't know, because the other guy I do know is actually pitching very well. He's got 3 out of his last 4 quality starts. In the month of May, Gavin Williams is actually 1-0 with a 1.99 ERA. He's got good numbers against Toronto too. He's pitched, I'm not sure exactly how many times, but 11 innings. I believe it's 2 starts, but 21 strikeouts against the Blue Jays, 1.64 ERA. It's a small sample, but he's got good numbers there. So this was an interesting one where the number, the Guardians opened maybe minus 125. This number, I saw it in the morning. It actually went down. Cleveland was like 102, I believe. And the number's bouncing back up, which I think is telling you this is a Cleveland spot. I wouldn't mind Cleveland in the first 5, just because I think Williams will outpitch Scherzer. But I'd lean on the Guardians in the full game money line here as well.
Sharky, what do you got?
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny. Somebody in the chat the other day said we agree too much, and I was saying I was joking with Guns, and I was saying, sharp minds align. Like we don't just like construct narratives to like clash intentionally on the air.
Yeah, well, it's not like we're calling each other. Hey, we don't. We show up and we do this. So.
Exactly, and I do agree. I mean, I think look at Scherzer. We were talking about yesterday. Charlie Morton, obviously Verlander. These guys over 40. I said it's because they're obviously so competent. But you saw Morton yesterday. He did not look very good. Verlander lost outright as a significant favorite. Scherzer's right in that line. I mean, he's just far past his prime. He's just, at this point, really just a name. And he hasn't pitched since March, as Burnsy said. The actual matchup data is very anecdotal. Scherzer has not pitched against Cleveland since he pitched for the Mets 2 years ago. So you can't even really use that as any sort of applicable information. Gavin Williams, as coach said, he has pitched well against Toronto, but again, not in 2 years. Last time he pitched against Toronto, great home start, actually probably best of his career. 7 innings pitched, only 1 hit, 12 Ks. Different lineup, though, a lot of moving parts. It's going to be a tough game, but I do think one point on this series, I think Toronto and Cleveland are just very evenly matched. And I think when you see Toronto take game 1 last night, which we did suggest the market was steaming towards Toronto yesterday and an over on this show, this is the opposite today. It's steaming towards Cleveland. So just in terms of all this kind of anecdotal stuff, I do think they're going to zigzag in this series, so I would lean towards Cleveland.
All right, let's move on to the next game. Ugh, we got the Braves, and we got my Mets. Mets are favored here at $1.50, 9.5 over under. Didea Fuente, a little French Hispanic combination going on there against Clay Holmes. Sharky, please tell me I could smile for once tonight.
I think it's pronounced Didier, just for the clarity here. We had some French guys in the chat yesterday. I had to look up some of the comments, but Le Francais MLB player performance on a Wednesday. But you look at this guy. He's a 20-year-old. I mean, you talk about Scherzer and these guys over 40. Talk about craziness in baseball. Second career start. This is not where the Braves want to be tonight. You go from Schwellenbach, Strider to Fuentes. As I said, one career start back on Friday at Miami. Not particularly good. 6-2 loss to the Marlins. Just a very obvious reminder to everybody watching. The Mets are significantly better than the Marlins. So if this guy loses by 4 in Miami, I think Clay Holmes is going to take care of business tonight. And the Mets have been awful. And I told you guys yesterday, take the Braves. I'm telling you tonight, I think this is where the Mets do finally get off this bizarre losing streak. Lost 10 out of the last 11. Holmes just actually took a loss in Atlanta to Strider in a previous series. Key point, he was a dog there. Books like Strider. Books like the Mets tonight. I'd have to go with the home team here.
Coach, what do you think? Mets by 40?
Yeah, by 40. Well, not by 40.
41-1.
But 21. There you go. A couple touchdowns, right? But David says that it's not bad to agree sometimes because smart minds think alike, and in this situation, we do, and we think alike, not only because we've analyzed some data, but I mean, this is a situation where the books are telling you, like, this is a Mets. So go back 8 games, and we all know they're 1-10 or whatever, 1-9 their last 10. Go back 8 games, they're 1-7 in the last 8. They've been favored 1 time in the last 8 games. And I don't know about you, Sharp, but I was on that last week when Griffin Canning was pitching against Philly. And it was just a Mets spot, and the numbers said so, and we took the Mets, and they won 11-4. So I think you have a similar situation here tonight, where the books are telling you it's the Mets spot. It's simple as that. And you can look at the pitching matchup, et cetera, and all that, but the books are telling you, take the Mets. So let's take the Mets.
Thank God. All right, let's get over to Great American Ballpark. We got the Yanks and the Reds. Yanks, big favors here, -2.25, 9.5 over under. I mean, we got Max Fried and we got Brady Singer here. Perfect time for Yankees fans to see Max Fried taking the bump here after dropping the first 2 games of the series. Coach, does Max deliver tonight?
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't he? I think he does. I go back to it a lot, and you guys have heard it a ton, but the Yankees' first five, like they did it last night. They end up losing a game, but they won on the first 5 run line again. And tonight, obviously, you can't take the money line, so you're going to go first 5, lay the half run. 43-34 this season. I'm going to keep playing it until it doesn't make sense to play it. Brady Singer's on the other end. Just to mention this, Singer, average pitcher, 7-5, 4.13 ERA. But a couple Yankees have some pretty good numbers against them. Judge hits 417. LeMahieu and Bellinger also have pretty good numbers against them. It's a small sample, but I think they can get to Singer, and Fried can do what he does, and the Yankees, cover the first 5 run line.
Sharky, what do you got?
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I'll give you guys a free play. Take the first 5 run line. This is a Max Fried spot. He's a stopper. Without Garrett Cole, he's the ace 100%. He could be the Cy Young in the American League when all is said and done here. And, I mean, I'm a Yankee fan. I was actually surprised. I mean, obviously, we were trying to get Soto to re-sign, and then all of a sudden we end up with Max Fried. I had not been glued to Atlanta baseball in the past few years. This guy's far better than I expected. And just looking at the Yankees are actually 5-1 straight up this year, trying to avoid a sweep. And the only time they did get swept was in the division at Boston. So if they're outside of the division, they do not get swept. And as Coach said, Brady Singer used to pitch in the American League for Kansas City. So there is quite a bit of data here. He has poor numbers against the Yankees. And just one final point on this. I was on one of the shows, maybe with you guys or with Guns, but I was telling you guys on Monday night, Lodolo would beat Winans, who was a minor league pitcher coming up. And last night, we did suggest on this show that Burns, not Burnsy or Corbin Burns, but this guy would ace the Yankees. First pitcher in his first major league start to strike out 5 straight guys to begin the game. So we nailed that. Cincinnati won. Point being, we kind of really leaned and officially had on-record analysis for Cincinnati game 1 and 2. This is a Yankee spot. Take the first 5 run line. They'll be up by 3 or 4 runs, in my opinion.
All right, let's head over to Minnie. We got the Mariners and the Twins. Solid pitching matchup tonight. We got George Kirby, Joe Ryan. Twins laying $1.25, 7.5. Now, Sharky, we got 2 studs on the bump tonight. How are things going to shape out in Target Field?
Yeah, this is a really interesting spot as well. And I was saying to Bernsey before the show, but I feel like tonight you're just going to see a lot of reversals from last night. Teams that lost will flip it. And again, it's kind of what I said about the Toronto-Cleveland series. This is AL ball outside of the division with 2 teams that appear to be pretty evenly graded. I think this is where you have to lean towards Minnesota. I did take a loss with Minnesota yesterday. Obviously, they went down early. Chris Paddock, bizarrely imploded. He had great numbers sustainably against the Mariners. All of a sudden, 5 runs out of nowhere in the 3rd inning. But the key point is Minnesota actually pushed back and had more hits in the game, losing 6-5. Lost a coin flip when all was said and done. This is where you want to buy low on Minnesota, very similar to the Mets. Minnesota's been pedestrian, probably worse than pedestrian, actually terrible in the last 18, 3-15, lost 5 in a row. Joe Ryan is, in my opinion, their best pitcher. I think you want to back the home team here tonight.
Coach, do you agree?
Yeah, if I had to lean one way or the other, I'd probably lean Minnesota. And like Shark said, this is a tough one. It's almost a coin flip because they're just so evenly matched. But one thing I see is the number on the total being a little low. I like the over here just because Joe Ryan's a stud and I like him too, and he is definitely Minnesota's best pitcher. But his ERA so far in June, 4.43. He hasn't been as sharp as he has been in the past. George Kirby, I think Kirby's going to do well the rest of the season. He had a rough start as he came back from injury, like we've noted before. But then he started to find his groove, and then he did give up 4 earned runs to the Cubs last week. But that was a hitter-friendly environment where the wind was blowing, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's probably 85, 90 degrees there. But if you look back, these 2 teams, over the last 10 times they've played, they've averaged over 9 runs a game. 7 of the last 10 have gone over. And Seattle's just really smacking the ball. I mean, 31 runs their last 3 games. They've scored 6 or more, I think, in 5 straight. I don't know if they're going to score 6 on Joe Ryan, but I think in this case, I would lean towards the over 7.5.
All right, we're heading to Kauffman Stadium. We got the Rays and the Royals here. Rays favored minus 125, 8.5 over under. We got Rasmussen and Michael Wacha. Now, Coach, I got to give you some credit here, brother. Great call yesterday with the dog of the night.
Yes, sir.
Now, Kansas City has dropped 8 straight at home. We see number 9 tonight?
No, and for the same reason that I said yesterday that Tampa Bay was a dog to back, because the numbers were telling you. So this line has moved, and it's moved in Kansas City's direction. And I look at the pitching matchup all the time, and Rasmussen's a stud. He's done very well, sub-3 ERA. And Wacha is kind of inconsistent, although I believe Shark can give more insight on him. But for me, it's the number, and the numbers are telling me I should take the Royals here. I also think it's going to be a lower scoring game with 2 pretty good pitchers and some good bullpens. And we all know Kansas City doesn't score all that much anyway. So I would lean on the under here, and I would lean towards the Royals on the money line.
Sharky, what's the book on Wacha?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Coach. Yesterday I actually had the Royals. I missed. Coach nailed it, so good call on that. But I do think this is where you stay the course with the underdog in this series. And again, this is our third one of this particular broadcast where we're talking about out-of-division AL opponents that are very equally graded. First of all, there's value on the dog. And as Coach said, the market is moving towards Kansas City. But I think for good reason, actually. Michael Wacha, obviously a bit of a journeyman. He's in his 30s. He's been around the league, a couple different teams. He's the type of pitcher you want to back in these spots. He performs great at home as an underdog if he's facing an ace pitcher. 2 unique starts this year, actually. He beat Tarek Skubal at home, 1-0 as a significant dog. He also beat Framber Valdez as a significant dog, 2-0. So it's very psychological here. He's been in the league for a while. Clearly, he knows what he's doing. When he sees an ace coming into Kauffman Stadium, he prepares better. He's ready for the moment. Dan Rasmussen is very high quality for the Rays. But something I said about the Rays yesterday, I said they had a ton of home games versus road games. As of yesterday, they had played 50 home games and only 28 road games, by far the most home games for any team in the league. That also applies directly to Rasmussen. He has 11 home starts this year, only 4 on the road. And he pitches much better at home. On the road, he actually has pitched reasonably well at the National League. I think that's, again, it's batter pitcher stuff. They don't know his stuff in the National League. He's 3-0 at the National League. Only road start this entire year at an AL opponent, also outside of the division. Early season at Texas, he was favored and took a 4-3 loss to Kumar Rocker. Wacha is better than Kumar Rocker. This is where you want to back Kansas City tonight. Take Kansas City in this one. That's my top 3 play of this show.
All right, moving on to the Cubbies and the Cards. Cubs favored on the road here, laying 135, 8.5 over under. We got Matt Boyd, Eric Fetty. Now, the Cards have put the Cubs on the struggle bus, stealing the first 2 games of this series. Shark, what kind of action do we see tonight going deep in Busch?
That's interesting. I should be going out in the town here to figure that out. But in St. Louis tonight, this is a tough game. We said this yesterday. We said we really have no idea what's going on in this series. It's divisional baseball. They're very evenly matched. The Cubs have been a little too hot. St. Louis situationally has been very streaky this year, also hot more often than not. This pitching matchup gives us basically nothing. Matthew Boyd, first campaign with Chicago. Eric Fetty coming over late season last year to St. Louis. Neither pitcher has performed very well on the road at all, and neither pitcher has good matchup data against the opponent, which leads me to an over. It almost feels square at this point, though, because the Cubs seem to go over every single game. Again, it's a really tough spot. I mean, we saw it last night. We said it's kind of a coin flip. Lean the over, 8-7. There you go. I mean, honestly, I can see a similar type of game tonight. Real high scoring and just kind of back and forth.
Rick, what do you got?
Yeah, I would tend to lean towards the over as well. I mean, Fetty, like, the guy's just I don't know. What is he against the Cubs? 0-1, over a 6 ERA. And there's a couple of guys that have some really good numbers against him. Dansby Swanson is one. So I'd lean over here. I looking at the pitching matchup, Matthew Boyd, he's allowed 2 earned runs or less, 5 straight starts. I think at some point, he's probably going to get tagged. His expected ERA is a little bit higher than his ERA, but he's the better pitcher in this matchup. And the Cardinals took the first 2 games, right? So this, again, looking at what we've said about kind of zigzag, backing Boyd here, I'd back him early, maybe in the first 5, because the Cubs are a very good first 5 team. And again, it's not official, but I do agree with Shark on the over here, just because Fetty's been so bad.
All right, let's move over. We got Philadelphia and the Astros. Philly laying 160 here, 7.5. We got Zach Wheeler, Colton Gordon. Now, Coach, we had a real barn burner of a game between these two last night. Yep. Astros eking out a 1-0 victory. We see a little bit more action tonight?
Well, if by action you mean Zach Wheeler like shutting the door on Houston, then yeah, because that's what you're going to get, because Wheeler's an ace. We talked about left-handed pitching yesterday, and today it's a right-hander. Wheeler is an elite right-hander, and Houston tends to struggle against elite right-handed pitching, and Wheeler's just on one. Last 3 starts, 2 earned runs over 17 innings. He's a strikeout guy. He's 5th in the majors in strikeouts. He's got good history against Houston. What's not to like about Zach Wheeler in this spot? For me, it's Philly's first 5 money line, and that's actually one of my top picks of the day.
Sharky?
Yeah, I would align. I'll give you guys a free play. Same play, first 5 money line Philly, and again, this is the same exact thing we're saying. Last night, Houston won 1-0. It was a pitcher's duel. Suarez, our guy in the chat, says Suarez pitched the balls. Shark, he definitely did. So did Valdez. I mean, 1-0. That's your game. 8th inning solo shot from the Astros. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game, like Coach said. I think both pitchers will be reasonable here. Zach Wheeler just performs great at the American League. Dating back to last year, he's actually 7-1 straight up at an American League opponent. His only loss came last year at Baltimore. Key point, he was an underdog. So as a favorite on the road at an American League opponent, he's undefeated in the last 2 years. And this pitcher situation for Houston tonight, this guy Colton Gordon, first season, he's got limited data. It's not particularly impressive. His whip is over 1 at 1.4. This is actually the first time he's ever been a home dog out of the division in his career. He's performed reasonably well as a favorite. Again, that's not so much Gordon, it's just the team, how the Astros function versus an opponent. Books have this heavily weighted towards Philly, and Philly's been a great bounce-back team this year, particularly on the road. Definitely look towards Philly in all angles in this game.
Yeah.
All right, we got the Dodgers and Colorado. There's monster favorites here. -325. 10.5 over or under. That's kind of an average number, of course. We got Yamamoto and Chase Dollander. Now, Sharky, with the Dodgers -325, I mean, unless going out, unless you're thinking the Rockies can steal one away from here, how deep of a dive you got to do to find some value in this game?
It's really tough. I mean, we saw it yesterday. A bunch of our guys in the chat were talking about a 2-team parlay with the Dodgers and somebody else. Of course, that doesn't always pan out, particularly in baseball, just because of the variance. Like 250 doesn't automatically mean a win like it would in another sport. 335 is just an ugly number. I mean, again, you're risking 3.35 to win 1 unit. If it ever goes wrong, all of a sudden you need 3 wins to just get back to center. This guy, Chase Dollander, has been somewhat representative. He's actually a highly touted prospect, very young. And, we were talking about this yesterday a little bit. There's just a lot of young pitchers across the entire league. When these young pitchers get involved, it just opens up a can of worms. They're very unpredictable. The over is always a look in this particular stadium between these teams. You saw it last night, 9-7. There is actually under steam coming in this game. I think the market's projecting Yamamoto to pitch reasonably well. And as I said, Dollander, hot or cold, maybe more efficient tonight. Honestly, it could go either way. Dodgers don't lose. Really a toss. Just giving you guys the information.
Coach, what do you got?
Yeah, like you said, this is
no dog of the night tonight.
This is a turd in a punch bowl, Yeah, where do you find value? I think you find value in the prop market here if you're looking for anything. Yamamoto actually does have some Coors Field experience, and that kind of helps when you go back there and pitch. So he may pitch well. And like Shark mentioned, Dollander actually is a pretty good prospect. His numbers don't show that, and it's tough to pitch at Coors as well. And his home ERA is almost 10. So, if you like the over here, hey, great, go for it. I don't particularly. The best value for me, I actually like Yamamoto's strikeouts prop. Earlier this morning, it was at 6.5, and we all know that Colorado strikes out. Them and the Angels strike out more than anybody in the league, about 10 a game. I think they struck out 11 times last night, and Yamamoto is going to work his magic against them. So if I leaned on anything here, it's Yamamoto over 6.5 Ks.
All right, last game of the night here. We got the Fish and we got the Giants. Giants laying 205, over under at 7. We got Cabrera, we got Webb. Now, Coach, is there anything really more to say other than Logan Webb pitching at home?
Well, no, not really. But for me, I would definitely include Edward Cabrera in that equation. So everybody knows, like Logan Webb, I mean, he's a great pitcher. I like him. He pitches well at home. We all know that. Historically, he's been awesome. This year, 4-1, 1.35 ERA at home. Like Wheeler, he's a strikeout guy. I think he's 6th in the majors in strikeouts. But, it's funny, as good as he is, and this probably has more to do with the bats behind him, but he's one of the least profitable first 5 pitchers in baseball, which is hard to believe as good as he is. But on the other end, you got Edward Cabrera, who I've said a number of times, like he's probably going to get dealt at the trade deadline, and he's just pitching his ass off. He had a rough start, but since May 1st, he started 8 games, 2-1, 2.23 ERA. He pitched against the Giants on May 31st, 5 2/3 scoreless innings. That game was at Miami, though. Miami ended up winning that game 1-0. Marlins, they're 4-1 on the first 5 money line in Cabrera's last 5 starts. I mean, if you want to jump on the Marlins early, I've done this before, and I'm going to play this one again. It's the Marlins' first 5 plus the half run. And then I think this ends up being a pitcher's duel, and you can see that the line is set for an under, and it's under 7. I believe you can find that at 6.5 right now at some sports books.
Sharky, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the total. I want to see what that's at as well right now. Yeah, it's at 7. I think the under is the best look in the game. As Coach said, this Cabrera guy is pitching great. He actually did face the Giants at home on Saturday, May 31st. Not coincidentally, the game finished 1-0. That was against Robbie Ray. And I think, obviously Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, both very high upside pitchers. Yeah. Line in that game actually opened at 7.5, juice to -120. This actually opened at 6.5, juice to 120. So books saw the 1-0 game, and basically by moving the line down or confirming it's going to happen again, basically no movement off that. So this, in terms of the money line, this is just your typical -200, which projects a 1-run win for the home team, where they're making you pay 2-1, just giving away no free money by the books. So I think the under is the best look in this game, and I do think the Giants get there if you guys want to package it in some sort of parlay. But 2-1 is not a nice number.
Yeah. All right, boys, that's the analysis. Let's move it on over to best bets. All right, Coach, you want to start us off? What's our best bet tonight?
Yeah, I'll get you. I mentioned it earlier. I actually mentioned 2 just because they kind of coincide. But I mentioned Zach Wheeler. The guy's just going to deal tonight. It's a Phillies game all the way here as they bounce back from last night. So I like Wheeler early. So first 5. And I believe you're going to have to lay the half run by now because that's probably been priced out. And then I like the Phillies on the money line. That was my official quick pick on the blog today, with the Phillies money line as well.
All right, we going for number 7 tonight, Coach?
I believe so.
Max bets in a row?
Yes, sir. That's the plan.
Make sure you guys grab that link that's in the description below. Max bet must cash or all of Coach Rick's picks for free for the entire season. Sharky, what's our best play?
Yeah, we have Kansas City at +112. And I do align with Coach on the first 5 for Philadelphia and the first 5 in the Yankee game as well. And again, it's just buying these aces off losses. We talk about this in other sports, like in the playoffs in basketball. You find a team off a loss, they come home, it's great. In baseball, it's a team off a loss with their ace on the mound. So just look at those spots tonight. But Kansas City is my top look for free, plus 112.
And then what's your VIP looking like tonight, brother? Do I?
Yeah, big cards tonight.
Little max bet up your sleeve?
Yeah, absolutely. Max bet. We're doing great in max bet since January in both sports, basketball and baseball. And as I've told you guys before, maybe I'm a little too conservative. Like, I'm very patient and analytical as a person, so I don't fire big as much as I probably should. So we have a max bet tonight. I also have 2 half max bets. So it's a 50 and 2 25s. These are great cards. I will say this. The last time I swept a card, it was a couple weeks ago on a Sunday 4-0. In my own lab here, I said this is a great card. These should all be 50s. Of course, I got apprehensive and made them all 10. Sure enough, we went 4-0. So tonight's a very similar vibe. We're firing away. But suddenly not so casual Wednesday. Let's dominate.
Link for Sharky's plays in the description below, guys. Make sure you jump on there. Sharky's max bet must win or his entire MLB season for free. $49 for the pair of them. Jump on board. Get involved with what we got going on here. That's going to do it for MLB Player Performance. Thank you very much for joining us. Make sure you guys slam that like button, turn your notifications on. Keep an eye out for Sharky and Guns. They're going to be doing the entire card tomorrow. A lot of early baseball. Set that alarm. Wake up winners. Sharky, any closing words?
Yeah, as Bernsey just said, we're going to be recording actually overnight for the card tomorrow. There's only one primetime game tomorrow night. I think it's an AL East or an NL East game. So I think that Guns and I are going to run through the whole card. So we'll see you guys tomorrow morning, probably at 11 a.m. For the breakdown of that card. And, we appreciate you guys in the chat. We know it's the middle of the summer. I was just saying in my Telegram channel, get off the couch. You're at work. You're watching something. Get up. The heat, it can bog you down. Take control of your life. Be with us. High energy. We appreciate you guys. See you guys tomorrow. Coach, a pleasure. And Bernsey, a pleasure as always.
Absolutely, brother. Coach, any closing words?
I will quote the great philosopher Chico Escuela, who said that baseball be very, very good to me. It's been good to me, and hopefully it's been good to all of those who have tailed not only my picks, but Shark, Guns, Luke, Jay, everybody here at Why Lose. We put a lot of time and effort into this, and we do it because we love to do it, and we do it because we win.
F&A, brother. F&A. All right, guys. We'll see you back over here tomorrow. Wake up winners with Shark and Guns. 3 p.m. live show will be back on Friday. Till then, guys, always remember, best of luck tonight. Bet with your heads, never above them. We'll see you back over here soon. Y'all stay well.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last